I like my properties the way I liked men in my 20s, with self-esteem issues. Sure, everybody wants a property that looks like Luke Perry, but sometimes the property is, who's ugly? So if you're looking for property in this market, a few things I would do is go onto Redfin and look for properties that are in areas that you like, and I'll heart everything that I'm interested in, even if it's a little bit above my price range. We're dreaming here. So I'm gonna heart everything I like, and then Redfin's gonna notify me if and when that property falls out of escrow, and then I'm gonna text my realtors so they can swoop on in to find out what was wrong. Maybe there's an opportunity, sellers feeling a little bruised, and you might be able to get a good deal. So a perfect example of this in my own experience, I was looking at a rental property, saw the notification at 8 a.m. back on the market, text my agent. We were able to see the property by 10 a.m. We wrote an offer by 1 and went into escrow that following Monday. Had we waited, the seller had then received offers higher than ours, but we got it because we were quick and knew what we wanted. Now, this doesn't mean physically banged up. It could mean that the buyers got cold feet, maybe weren't pre-qualified by a great lender, but the seller is a little psychologically banged up because they were in escrow and now, walk of shame, back on the MLS. Another example of self-esteem issues is when I see a property with crappy photos. That's going to tell you that that seller hired a realtor that might not be the best putting their property on the market, and that's going to be an opportunity for you and your realtor to negotiate a better deal. I love hoarders. Whenever I see a listing that's just got crap everywhere, usually it doesn't have crap everywhere. Usually it's just like one bad shot of the front, and then you go see it and there's shit everywhere. That is great because most buyers can't see past all the cats and the piss, all of that, but some fresh paint can do wonders and you could end up with a really good deal. Now, sometimes you might notice that the listing agent is also a property manager, which could mean, not always, but could mean that that listing agent is not a specialist. So they manage property full time and they list them when their sellers are ready to move on. But that could be an opportunity for you and your realtor, who is a specialist, to negotiate a better deal. The other thing you can look out for are listing agents who are out of the area or discount brokers, because for the same reason, the seller is hiring somebody either like the brother-in-law who lives up north or more of like a flat fee agent. They're usually not the best negotiators. That too can be an opportunity for you to swoop in. Another thing I like to see are price reductions. That tells me that the seller's open to negotiate, and we might be able to do something like a 2-1 buy down to get my monthly payment lower and be a good deal for the buyer. One thing I've noticed too is when there are multiple parties, let's say a family, a group of siblings inherited their parents' property and a buyer is asking for a price reduction, call it 50 grand. Each kid's not gonna net that much less versus a single seller. So not to say you can rob it, but I notice when there's multiple parties involved, there's a little bit more negotiation room. Also, if you do have a situation where somebody's inherited a property and they don't have that emotional attachment to the home, it can often lead to negotiating a better deal because they just want to be done with the property, sell it and move on. So if you want to take advantage of these types of deals, you need to be prepared. So one, you need to have a realtor that knows the market and is going to be able to act quickly if you see something you like. You also need to be committed to that agent, because if you're going to expect them to jump the moment you see a property, you need to be committed to them. Get pre-approved. So you don't want to go out looking at property and then get a loan officer trying to get you pre-approved on the weekend. So do that homework up front early. Know what you're pre-approved, what your max is, what your ideal payment is. Know all of those things in between, so then when you see that property, you can move fast. Something else that you can do for properties, if you're looking for the ones with issues, is you see something you like. Your agent is going to, whether you see it in person or on the MLS, reach out to the listing agent and just let them know that you are an interested buyer. And if the seller is getting ready to go back on the market or a price reduction, just keeping that communication going is going to be good, because maybe you can swoop in before that price reduction to try to work out a deal. Another thing, don't be afraid of things that might come up in repairs. When you're a first-time buyer, it can seem scary when you hear, oh, there's a problem with the foundation. But for instance, in LA, most of the properties here are almost 100 years old and they haven't fallen down. It might not be a $100,000 repair for a brand new foundation. It might be a retrofit that's only $7,000. It doesn't need to be done immediately. Roof, termite, water damage, these are all things that may come up during the inspection. And again, depending on the type of repair, it might not be tens of thousands to fix. Being really educated negotiated and having a group of vendors that you trust, and your realtor should have really good relationships with those types of people, I wouldn't let that scare you into possibly getting a good deal, especially if you can get credits to help offset some of those expenses. Let's say you're in escrow on this property and there was a physical inspection done by the previous buyer and that inspection was shared with the seller. Now the seller is privy to that information and has to disclose anything that was discovered during that inspection. That could be a great opportunity for you to negotiate credits or possibly a price reduction. So don't be afraid. If you see a property that's a little banged up, you're gonna see past that. And the thing is, other buyers won't. And so you're gonna be able to negotiate a really good deal and be so glad you did.